Is the most perfect marriage in Tinseltown's history finally hitting the incinerator? Was this high-profile union just a masterclass in deception? Is this Keith Urban's radioactive retaliation for spending 20 years fading into a Hollywood shadow? Grab your snacks and keep your eyes peeled, because we are unveiling the scorched earth revenge plot that Nicole Kidman never anticipated. Usually, A-list breakups follow a mind-numbing, generic script of mutual respect and privacy. However, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban just tossed that boring manual into a wood chipper and cranked up the heat. We are dissecting 19 years of a manicured, glossy, and honestly draining image of domestic perfection that has vanished quicker than a Nashville fog. This massive scandal currently rattling Hollywood's foundations isn't just some basic divorce. It is the brutal exposure of the ugly reality hiding behind those heavy multi-million-dollar gates. For nearly 2 decades, we swallowed the fable of the poised Oscar queen and her obsessed country crooner. Now, industry insiders are whispering terrifying phrases like total betrayal because the stakes have truly never been higher. Nicole Kidman isn't just some movie star. She is a global brand, a colossal institution that depends on her being completely flawless. If Keith Urban spills even 10% of the truth, the obscene spending and alleged abuse of power are the daggers that will really hurt. While normal people were struggling, this duo was allegedly burning hundreds of thousands on private security just to block the neighbors from hearing them scream in the driveway. There are explosive reports of rot within their private charity, with money allegedly siphoned off to fund a lifestyle so obscenely lavish it's actually nauseating. We're talking about chartering private jets just for luggage, while the tension regarding the rumored secret contract reaches a boiling point. The spotlight is shifting from the cozy recording studio to the cutthroat legal war rooms of Los Angeles and Sydney. This isn't about catchy songs anymore. It is about the surgical dismantling of a power dynamic that has gone unchallenged since the early 2000s. The second chapter of this deep dive explores the specific leaked memos suggesting Keith Urban is prepping to drop a literal paper trail of Nicole Kidman's alleged demands, effectively turning his payback into a legal execution of her reputation. But the juiciest part of this mess involves the gross extravagance and greed that Keith Urban is reportedly ready to weaponize. We aren't just discussing diamonds and estates. We are exposing the alleged abuse of their combined power to hijack media narratives. Rumors are exploding that Nicole Kidman's PR machine spent millions over the years to silence messy stories about Keith Urban's personal battles or their explosive fights, creating a fraudulent reality that Keith Urban is now rejecting. The Revenge Blueprint allegedly features several interlude tracks on his new album where Keith Urban doesn't even perform. He simply plays leaked audio of what sounds like vicious, high-stakes shouting matches between their legal teams. Picture the catastrophic fallout when the public finally hears the actual voice of the woman they've worshipped for decades allegedly shrieking at her husband to fix his face before a camera flashes. This unbearable suspense is being engineered through these weaponized leaks. Furious fans are already spearheading a massive boycott of Nicole Kidman's upcoming slate, arguing they can no longer bankroll an actress who allegedly treated her marriage like a movie set where she was the only director. This palpable sense of betrayal is suffocating. Fans feel swindled, realizing they were sold a glittering fairy tale while the reality was a cold, calculated business arrangement. As we dig deeper into this structural collapse, the public's obsession with these abuse of power elements is reaching a fever pitch. There are shocking claims of Keith Urban being coerced into signing behavioral addendums for his tours, allegedly requiring him to check in with Nicole Kidman's personal security team every 60 minutes. The drama is peaking with rumors of a desperate counterstrike from Nicole Kidman's camp. Reports hint she's weighing a tell-all of her own, but critics argue she has far too much to lose. While Keith Urban can easily pivot into his tortured artist era, Nicole Kidman is shackled to her stately, untouchable image. This massive disparity in their public needs is exactly what Keith Urban is ruthlessly exploiting. He is torching the entire estate because he knows he can survive in a tent and still be a rock star, while Nicole Kidman needs the palace to remain the queen. Investigative findings suggest Keith Urban has been plotting this escape for at least 3 years, surgically documenting every obscene expense and instance of alleged corruption to ensure his strike would be a total knockout. Insiders within Nashville's elite circles describe Keith Urban as calmly dangerous. He isn't throwing erratic tantrums. He's throwing cold, hard facts. Public sentiment is rapidly shifting from "why are they splitting?" to "how did he survive this long?" This pivot proves the sheer power of the revenge plan, which has effectively rewritten 19 years of history in mere months. The anticipation for the next leak is becoming a global obsession. We are all waiting for that first visual proof, the first smoking gun document, or the first acoustic chord that confirms this nightmare. The fallout is already hitting her wallet, with elite brands rapidly distancing themselves from the Nicole Kidman institution. Financial experts are whispering about a catastrophic devaluation of her personal brand equity. If Keith Urban's findings are as radioactive as rumored, this corruption isn't just a moral failure, it's structural. If the world learns that this stable marriage was merely a product of high-priced PR sorcery and legal intimidation, the trust is gone forever. Keith Urban is leaning into the chaos, positioning his revenge as a crusade for transparency in an industry fueled by lies. This lead-in brings us directly to the most terrifying horizon for Nicole Kidman: the looming threat of actual legal consequences. This has evolved beyond a simple PR disaster. It is now a potential federal probe into the Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban financial empire. If Keith Urban exposes the systematic abuse of power involving their private staff and those alleged non-disclosure bribes, authorities may start asking questions that no amount of Oscar-winning performance can deflect. The tension is mounting toward a moment of absolute exposure, where the revenge plot stops being a music project and transforms into a criminal indictment of a Hollywood lifestyle that's spiraled out of control. Nicole Kidman isn't just spiraling because her ex is writing songs about her. She is panicking because the man who knows exactly where all the bodies are buried has finally grabbed a shovel and started digging in front of a global audience. The narrative has officially slipped from her grasp. And for someone who has scripted her entire life, that is the ultimate psychological nightmare. We are heading straight into the catastrophic fallout of what happens when the revenge plan finally hits the airwaves and the world views the unfiltered truth. The disastrous effects of this exposure are only just beginning to vibrate through the upper echelons of the global entertainment industry. And for Nicole Kidman, this fallout is looking less like a minor PR hiccup and more like a permanent career blackout. As the revenge strategy enters its final, most lethal phase, we are moving past petty songs and leaked memos into the dangerous territory of actual legal subpoenas and financial bankruptcy. This third chapter of our investigation analyzes the wreckage left behind as Keith Urban's alleged evidence begins to land in the hands of people who can do much more than just tweet about it. Reports are now exploding that several high-level government agencies are taking an incredibly close look at how the fallout is manifesting in a massive public revolt that is currently drowning out every attempt Nicole Kidman's team makes to pivot the conversation back to her upcoming cinema projects. Every time she shares a promotional clip, the comment section becomes a toxic sea of questions regarding the secret contract and the alleged behavioral addendums she forced Keith Urban to endure. The tension is thick, and the hunger for a formal investigation is at an all-time peak. There is serious chatter in the industry about hypothetical resignations as we witness a financial meltdown within the Nicole Kidman institution that absolutely no one predicted. Several major fashion houses and luxury brands that have utilized Nicole Kidman as their global face for decades are reportedly holding emergency board meetings to trigger moral turpitude clauses in her contracts. If Keith Urban's investigative findings prove that Nicole Kidman utilized these brands' capital to fund her alleged social media scrubbing and media manipulation wars, the legal repercussions will be absolutely staggering. The drama is fueled by the delicious irony that a woman who played so many roles as a victim is now being cast by her own ex-husband as the ultimate villain in a real-life thriller. The public is devouring it because it's the first time they've seen the untouchable elite actually held accountable for the obscene spending and corruption that usually stays buried behind NDAs and private security details. The consequences are even destroying the personal staff who once enabled this lifestyle. We're hearing reports of a mass exodus of assistants, stylists, and bodyguards who are now allegedly seeking their own legal protection to avoid being dragged down by the Nicole Kidman sinking ship. Keith Urban's masterstroke has effectively triggered a snitch culture within her inner circle, where the only way to salvage a career is to corroborate Keith Urban's explosive claims. This level of betrayal from her trusted lieutenants is what has Nicole Kidman reportedly in a state of absolute, total panic. She isn't just losing a husband, she is losing her entire mercenary army. The investigative findings suggest that Keith Urban has even documented the hush money payments made to former staff, effectively turning a civil divorce into a potential criminal probe. The suspense is no longer about if she will be exposed, but about how many collateral victims she will take down with her when the revenge plan finally reaches its climax. Public reaction has reached a point of no return, with furious fans even organizing protests outside her filming locations, demanding transparency. The sarcasm and humor usually found in these celebrity scandals have turned into a cold, hard demand for justice. People are referencing the billions of dollars the couple has earned over the years and asking how much of it was built on the backs of exploited workers and manipulated narratives. The revenge plan has successfully weaponized the public's admiration, and Keith Urban is the one with his finger on the trigger. He has positioned himself as a champion of the people who finally grew tired of the lies, and the audience is rewarding him with unprecedented support while Nicole Kidman is left to rot in a vacuum of silence. The potential for a government investigation is the most radioactive part of this entire saga. There are rumors that tax authorities in both the United States and Australia are scrutinizing the lavish spending that was allegedly written off as business expenses. We're talking about those charter jets and the exotic mineral water shipments. If those were paid for through their private foundation, we're looking at a financial scandal that could dwarf any Hollywood divorce in history. The phrases tax evasion and charitable fraud are being whispered in the same breath as Nicole Kidman, and the tension is building toward a moment where she might actually have to step away from the spotlight indefinitely to deal with the legal fallout. As we reach the final stages of this exposure, the revenge plan looks like a masterpiece of strategic destruction. Keith Urban didn't just want to hurt her feelings, he wanted to dismantle the machinery that allowed her to control him for 19 years. The consequences are visible in her public appearances, or rather, the lack thereof. Nicole Kidman has reportedly canceled several high-profile interviews and gala appearances, citing personal reasons, but the world knows the truth. She is hiding because the reality Keith Urban is exposing is one she can't act her way out of. The investigative findings are too detailed, the sources are too numerous, and the public's anger is too loud. The perfect life has been exposed as a gilded cage, and the fallout is a warning to every other A-lister who thinks they can hide behind a PR team forever. The anticipation for the album's release has now been superseded by the anticipation for the legal filings. This is the pivotal moment where the revenge blueprint transitions from mere entertainment to a cold, hard reality. The consequences of Nicole Kidman's alleged abuse of power are finally closing in on her, and the world is watching with a toxic mix of shock and I-told-you-so satisfaction. Keith Urban has successfully yanked back the velvet curtain. What's hiding behind it is a tangled mess of corruption, greed, and a desperate woman clinging to a fraudulent lie that has already been shattered into a million pieces. The drama is at an absolute, suffocating peak. The suspense is unbearable, and the explosive nature of this exposé has guaranteed that the name Nicole Kidman will never be synonymous with perfection ever again. Ultimately, the total fallout of Keith Urban's revenge plan proves that in our current age of transparency, even the most powerful stars cannot bury their secrets forever. Nicole Kidman is currently surviving the wreckage of 20 years of alleged manipulation. As the investigations loom and her financial empire begins to tremble, she is learning the hard way that when you spend your life constructing a fragile house of cards, all it takes is one man with a guitar and a grudge to blow the entire structure down. The revenge plan wasn't just some creative project, it was a reckoning. And the reckoning has only just begun. The suspense of what the first official government probe will uncover is the only topic the world is discussing. As the curtain falls on this three-part investigation, one thing is crystal clear. The perfect marriage was the biggest scam in Hollywood history, and the truth is finally free. We promised you this was going to be explosive, but did you ever expect it to go this deep? The perfect Nicole Kidman is caught in a web of her own making, while Keith Urban prepares the final blow that could reshape Hollywood forever. Is this the end of an era, or just the beginning of a massive, industry-wide cleanup? We want to hear from you. Is Keith Urban right to expose everything, or has he gone way too far with this ruthless revenge plan? Do you actually believe the allegations of corruption and abuse of power, or is this just the ultimate performance by a heartbroken rock star? Drop your wildest theories in the comments right now. We are reading every single one of them, and things are getting heated. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the truth that the mainstream media is too terrified to touch, you know exactly what to do. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on those notifications for Celebrity News Addict. We are tracking every single legal filing, every leak track, and every panicked move Nicole Kidman makes. Don't miss the next update because this story is far from over. We told you this was going to be explosive, but did you ever expect it to go this deep? The perfect Nicole Kidman caught in a web of her own making, while Keith Urban prepares the final blow that could change Hollywood forever. Is this the end of an era, or the start of a massive cleanup? Tell us, is Keith Urban right or too far? Believe the corruption, or is it just a performance? Comment below. Subscribe to Celebrity News Addict now.